Yeah, welcome to the current session. In the previous session, we have seen how to define system options and transaction types. In the current session, let us go through the application and try defining sources. Define invoice sources in the current session. Through account receivable responsibility, we are going to define invoice source. Basically, invoice source will be defined against the operating unit, same like how we define system options and transaction types. We are going to define invoice sources against the operating unit. Okay, there are two types of invoice sources are there: manual invoice source and import invoice source. Manual import sources are nothing but which we create, which user will create through data entry. Whenever we receive it will be created as required through manually, whereas import sources are like when we are importing data from any third party service, when we are importing data from any third party legacy system or from any other Oracle modules data like invoices and all, then it will become import source. Okay, let us get to the application and try to implement the same. Go to the application, choose the Tata, like as I said, this is my customized responsibility. So select accounts receivable responsibility, go to setup, transactions, under transaction select sources. As I said, as per the profile option setup, automatically my operating unit and legal entity is getting loaded, right? So then define some name of the provide the name of the provide some name here. Okay, one second, let me check whether it is getting recorded or not. Yeah, let us give the name of it Tata AR Invoice Source. I'll name it as AR Invoice Source. Okay, this will be my name of the source. Let me note it down here. Okay, and then go back to the application back. So I'll just copy paste the same here, and as I said here, generally there are two types of sources available in the application. One is manual and the other one is imported. Manual is nothing but the one which we create, the one which will be created by the user manually through the system data entry, whereas the imported one will be the one which when we are importing any data, when the transactions are when the transaction is coming from any legacy system or other Oracle module, then invoice source type will become imported. Okay, let me select now manual and try creating manual one. See, on selection of manual, automatically what will happen is except batch source tab, rest all the tabs, auto invoice options, customer information, accounting information, all these tabs will become disabled. On selection of manual, see here. Okay, on selection of manual, what will happen? Except batch source tab, rest everything will be disabled. And pass the description as well. And active, do you want this source, whatever the source we are creating, do you want it as active or not? If it is not active, then how can we use? So you should make it as active. By default it will be active. Okay, and automatic batch number, do you want to generate automatic batch number, yes or no? If you enable this, then it will be automatic. By default it will be set as, keep it as yes, or if you don't want, you can make it as, you can disable it. We need to provide the last number. If I say my last number is 1000, then what will happen? Up to now 1000 numbers has been generated. If one more batch number is another next batch number is generating, then it will become 1001. Similarly, automatic transaction number, up to now if I say 500, then next transaction number will generate as 501. Okay, and allow duplicate transaction number, do you want to allow duplicate transaction number? Do you want to allow duplicate transaction number? For the same invoice, do you want to allow a duplicate transaction number, yes or no? Okay, by using this. And generate line level balances. Receipt handling, receipt handling for credit. I'll just select we have like a refund or on account. I'll just select as refund. Reference field default values. We'll have multiple fields here in the drop down. If you see, we'll have multiple around 15 I have. From that I am just say selecting the first one, attribute 1, standard transaction type. What are the transaction type I have created earlier, that will be flown here. If you remember, I have created Tata invoice in my previous session, that I will be selecting here. Credit memo batch source. Do you want to select credit memo batch source for this invoice? We have multiple sources like charge backup, DM reversal, global, intercompany, India invoices, intercompany, loans, manual. You can select if you wish, you can select. Okay. Now let me select manual others. Okay, and just save it off. That's it. Creation of manual sources. That's it. Now if you see here, effective date will be today's date. By default, on the date when you are creating this, that will be the effective date. So now what I do is, let me create the now import source. Okay, what I do is, I'll just give the name of it, Tata Air Invoice Source, import source. I'll just say import source. I'll just name it as import source. I'll just copy paste the same. I'll select the type as import. As I said, when we are importing when the transactions are getting imported from any other Oracle module or any other legacy systems, when the transactions when the transactions are imported from any Oracle module or other legacy systems, then those data will be from other Oracle module, like then the top will become import source, order entry, delivery invoice. Okay. um, so yeah, see, on selection of this imported field, automatically all these fields got enabled, right? All the fields got enabled. In the earlier session, only on selection of menu only batch source got enabled, rest everything got disabled. On selection of imported, all these tabs got enabled. Okay, so it should be active, and I just kept it as active. And effective date, by default, whatever the date it has come, today's date, it will take autofill. And if when you define the end date, then automatically on that date it will get ended. Okay, automatic batch number, do you want to enable or not? I'll just enable even this one as well. I don't enable this one. If you want, you can enable this. I'll just keep it here as 1000. Do you want to copy document number to transaction number? We have option, do you want to allow or not? Allow duplicate transaction number. If you want, you can. Okay, what I do is, I'll just select from refund, and standard transaction I'll take from the Tata invoice. I'll select, and the credit memo or debit memo I'll just select from as manual other, and then just save it off. Before going to next steps, save it off. Okay, then go to the here, and see, invalid line under auto invoice options tab. Under auto invoice options tab, we have like invalid line, GL date in closed period, grouping rule, payment details in defaulting. Automatically this data has been loaded. I haven't done anything. Automatically this has been loaded in this way. Thing is, like when the transactions are importing through auto invoice screen, when the transactions are importing through auto invoice option, in case invalid line. What is invalid line? When the transactions are importing through auto invoice option, if what are the data I am importing, if it is having invalid line, then what I should do? Should I reject or should I create invoice? That is the option here. When we are importing any data which is having invalid line in each, do you want to create invoice or reject? Just keep it as reject invoice. GL date in closed period. Thing is, like for example, let us say today we are in March 2024. Okay, whereas I'm importing data, we are importing data which belongs to February 2024, whereas already Feb 2024, for example, GL period is already closed. In that case, do you want to reject the data which we are importing for February, or do you want to adjust that data? How do you want to do? If you want to reject directly, you just keep the option as reject so that it will get rejected. What are the data we are importing for what are the data we are importing for belongs to February 2024, that will be automatically rejected. Or else if you say adjust, then what will happen is, if you select here adjust option, then what will happen is, what are the data we are importing Feb 2024 data, that will be created in the application, with the current date. Okay, today's date, that is nothing but 14th March. It will 12th March, it will be created with 12th March 2024. Okay, that is how it works. And what I do is, I'll just keep it as reject as well here. And grouping rule, generally it is coming from system options. Okay, what are the grouping rule we have defined there, that will be floated here. As I said, how do you want to group the invoices, on what basis you want to group the invoice, that is called grouping rule. Payment details defaulting hierarchy, we have multiple options like parent of bill to customer. Automatically parent of bill to customer, it is enabled, so let it be. And that's it, just save it off and go back to the other option, customer information. When we are importing the data, when we are importing customer information, how do you want to import, either through value or ID? How do you want to import the customer information? Okay, I'll just say through, based on the ID I just want to import, so let me enable it as ID. Importing the data through based on ID is the best thing to do, so you import the data through ID. And similarly, when you are importing accounting information, how do you want to import, based on value based on value or ID? I'll just say ID. Okay, that's it, save it off. And I'll just note down this one for my reference. That's it, guys. Let us talk about creating transaction types at line level and header level in the upcoming session. Thank you.